Coming up on OU Nightly, we are tracking some severe weather in your forecast.
A $5 billion turnpike expansion plan stopped in its tracks. And a deadly crash near Davis, Oklahoma. The latest from investigators. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Carolyn Felling.
And I'm Dakota McDowell-Apakichi. We begin tonight with more on the Oklahoma Turnpike Association and their proposed extension through Norman. Norman residents are celebrating the OTA's decision to pause the Access Oklahoma Turnpike expansion. OU Nightly's David Ash has more on the issue and its impact for Norman families. Sorry for the technical difficulties. To stay up to date on the turnpike construction, visit the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority website at pikepass.com.
State troopers say 2 people are dead after a crash northbound on I-35 near Wynnewood. You can see from this video from our partners at News 9, multiple semi-trucks were involved. Oklahoma Highway Patrol says construction caused slow-moving traffic when one semi came up from behind too fast, going over another vehicle. And even in stop-and-go traffic, OHP is advising drivers to remain alert.
Just because you're sitting still or you're slow moving on the interstate doesn't mean necessarily you're out of danger. Keep your head up and look around.
This section of I-35 will be closed for quite some time, so plan to take an alternate route and drive safely.
A proposal to ban some drag performances in the state is being revived with a newly amended bill. Morgan Martin joins us live in the newsroom with more on the changes. Morgan?
A Senate committee passes an amended version of a bill which would ban some public drag performance in the state. Bill 1056 was originally written to limit the amount of obscene material accessible to minors. It created a community standard based on how news outlets distribute potentially inappropriate material. Representative Kevin West led the amendments, rewriting the bill to be similar to a previous bill that failed the House's deadline. Next, the bill heads to the House floor, but if passed, will need to go back to the Senate in order for the changes to be approved. And Louisville police released body cam footage from the bank shooting earlier this week. This video comes from CNN, warning, and the video can be graphic for some viewers.
Officer Nicholas Wilt behind the wheel. Corey Galloway training him.
Stop right here. Back up, back up, back up, back up.
But Monday, it was not training. The body cam footage just released shows perhaps the worst moment an officer can imagine.
113 Baker, we're making entry from the east side at Preston and Main.
Within seconds of arriving, both Wilt and Galloway are shot. The training officer tumbles down the stairs and ducks behind a planter. Wilt, on just his 4th shift, shot in the head, down, bleeding. Galloway has no view of the shooter and can't get to his trainee.
These officers unflinchingly answered the call to protect and their duty to serve.
God damn it!
2 more shots from the suspect, armed with an AR-15, as Wilt lay out of sight from Galloway's camera.
It feels like eternity to watch. You can only imagine how it felt for them.
Guns were silent for the next 2 minutes as sirens wailed and backup arrived.
He's shooting straight through these windows, right towards the officer.
Less than 40 seconds later, LMPD says Galloway took out the shooter.
I think I got him down. I think he's down.
Putting training into action.
The most heroic things at the peak of our career that we do are shrouded in other people's tragedies.
as a profession, we are here to save people.
Our hearts go out to the Louisville community and the families affected. We'll keep you updated as new information is made available.
The Tennessee lawmakers expelled for a gun reform protest are getting their seats back. Pepper Purpura has that and the rest of today's national headlines from the News Center.
Dakota, Carolyn, the Shelby County Board of Commissioners is reinstating Representative Justin Pearson into the Tennessee House after a vote. Pearson is one of the 2 men expelled from the House for participating in a gun reform protest after 6 were killed at a Nashville school. The other expelled lawmaker, Justin Jones, was reinstated on Monday. Pearson celebrated his reinstatement outside of the commissioner's office.
This is the democracy that they're scared of. This is the democracy that they're worried about. Because this is the democracy that changes the status quo.
A fire emitting toxic smoke is threatening around 2,000 people in Indiana. The burning recycling plant has been called a fire hazard before. Now, city and state officials are saying the blaze could continue for days. The EPA is monitoring the air quality, but a local fire marshal says the air is, quote, definitely toxic, citing the plastics inside the plant and black smoke rising out of it. The White House is declaring fentanyl tranquilizers as an emerging threat, also known as TRANQ. This is the first time any administration in history has used the label for a drug. TRANQ combines the synthetic opioid with a substance, xylazine, an animal tranquilizer. The White House says they have carefully reviewed how the tranquilizers contribute to overdose deaths in their decision. And e-cigarette company Juul will pay out $462 million in a settlement that claims they marketed their products to minors. Carolyn, Dakota.
Well, I don't know about you, Dakota, but my allergies have been terrible lately, and that's because Oklahoma's allergies are hitting a high.
And that could be because of winds sweeping through the state. Weather expert Drake Foley is live on campus with more for us. Drake?
Yeah, right now on the South Oval, it's beautiful. That plains weather is in full effect. Across the state, we're seeing temperatures nearing the 80s, and you know, it's perfect for this time of year, especially because around the South Oval, we've seen people congregating and playing some sports or even reading out under a tree. And in Oklahoma, as you get farther west, just like Nellie said, it's getting hot in here, nearing the 90s out in the Panhandle. And as we look towards the winds that are across the state, we're looking at winds that are nearing about 30 miles per hour, and that's going to start to drive that fire weather that we're going to see later in the week, as well as the allergies that we're seeing across the state right now. As you can see, that tree pollen is really high, so you're seeing that nice fresh yellow paint job on some of the cars around campus. And as you can look, as the grass is also getting to that medium, but in next weather, you're going to see Lauren talk about how we have a severe weather chance on Friday, and that fire weather that I was talking about earlier, how it's increasing in western Oklahoma, and your OU women's gymnastics semifinal forecast. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Drake. And a Texas dairy farm is experiencing some heartache after a massive blaze.
We'll have more about this story after the break. And flooding in Utah forces homeowners to evacuate.
More on how the Red Cross is supporting outplaced families coming up.
Tear through Oklahoma.
We have a tornado warning for Cleveland County.
The OU Nightly weather team was there before.
45 minutes away or less from these storms getting into campus.
During.
Plenty of people who, are living off campus. This storm is headed to you.
And after.
Again, sending news crews out to assess damage.
Always keeping the University of Oklahoma in focus.
Campus in the clear right now.
OU Nightly Weather with Campus Weather Authority.
you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
From an explosion at a dairy farm to a New Jersey wildfire. Eli Millard covers that and more in Earth Report.
Yeah, one person is injured and 18,000 cattle are dead after a fire at a Texas dairy farm. Earlier this week, the Castro County Sheriff's Office received multiple calls about a fire at South Fork Dairy. Police say one worker was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The Texas State Fire Marshal says it is still investigating the cause of the blaze. 20 families are currently staying at Red Cross shelter in Utah after they were forced to evacuate their homes due to flooding. A spring runoff flooded neighborhood streets and sidewalks in Kaysville, causing sinkholes. Officials say the evacuation was precautionary in case the roads were washed out and stranded residents. So far, there's been no word whether residents will be able to return to their homes. And in New Jersey, mass evacuations are underway because of a massive wildfire. Fire crews say the fire has already consumed 2,500 acres and is only 10% contained. They say 170 homeowners have been evacuated from their homes and at least 75 structures are still being threatened. Right now in Oklahoma is at an elevated risk for wildfires, which will last the next 6 days. Currently 11 of the 77 counties in the state are under a burn ban. Dakota Carolyn, back to you.
Thank you, Eli. A well-known Sooner is coming back to OKC for a great cause.
And we'll have more on that story when we come back. And we've been dry around here, resulting in some dangerous fire weather. Let's go to Lauren Brand, who is in the studio. Lauren, what do you have for us?
Yeah, guys, coming up, I'm going to be talking about some severe weather chances and some fire weather coming up next.
Making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Did you know that items like paint, cleaning solutions, pesticides, solvents, and other chemicals are considered household hazardous waste? These chemicals are dangerous to our environment and water quality when they are dumped in our storm drains or gutters. Fortunately, the City of Norman has a dedicated household hazardous waste facility where you can properly dispose of these items. Call 405-366-5463 to make an appointment. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater. Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
Evening tornadoes tear through Oklahoma.
We have a tornado warning for Cleveland County.
The OU Nightly weather team was there before.
45 minutes away or less from these storms getting into campus.
During.
Plenty of people who, are living off campus. This storm is headed to you.
And after.
Again, sending news crews out to assess damage.
Always keeping the University of Oklahoma in focus.
Campus in the clear right now.
OU Nightly weather. Or Campus Weather Authority.
Well,
welcome back to OU Nightly. Right now we're taking a live look at campus. Right now we've had some beautiful clear blue skies, not a cloud in the sky, lovely temperatures out there right now. We're sitting around 79 degrees. Like I said earlier, those clear blue skies. We have a little bit of a breeze. We have it coming out of the southeast right now, around 18 miles an hour. And since it's coming out of the south, it's going to drive up that temperature just a little bit. Dew point sitting around 45 degrees. So a little bit dry, but not too bad. But definitely want to take consideration these temperatures because tonight is a great night to head to the pool. We are going to be slowly declining a little bit, but we are going to be pushing that 80-degree mark around 5 p.m. So still lovely time to spend at the pool. A little bit of a breeze coming out of the south, 16 to 20 miles an hour, and that's slowly going to decline. But for the air mass forecast, we are going to be watching a system that's going to be coming through this Friday that could have the potential to bring some severe weather along with this. Now we are going to have a dry line that's going to be set up kind of along that New Mexico, Texas and that Oklahoma kind of border, and that's what's really going to trigger these storms. But we are going to have a cap, and I'm sure that you've kind of heard that word kind of thrown around a lot, but that's what's going to maybe cause us to not have that severe weather. But right now, the SPC is issuing a slight risk for the eastern parts of the state. But like I was talking about that cap earlier, so basically what the cap is you have this warm layer that's in between these two colder layers. Now this can prevent storms from happening, which is why we might have a chance of not seeing these severe weather chances coming up. But we also have a risk of some fire danger along that backside of that dry line. Now, Norman isn't really included in this. This is really going to be for the panhandle of Oklahoma. Guymon right now is in some serious dry conditions right now. They've seen, last time they saw 0.25 inches of rain, it's been 222 days. They're looking more like Dryman right now than Guymon. But moving forward, your lows tonight, we are going to be dropping down just a little bit, 51 degrees here in Norman, and that's going to be pretty much the same for across the entire state. But for your highs tomorrow, we are going to be dipping back up. We have the spring-like temperatures. They're going to be around 78 degrees and a little bit warmer up here in Guymon, and that's what's going to continue on with these drought conditions. But as for your 7-day forecast, we are going to be, again, those temperatures are going to be beautiful. Tonight, we are going to be dipping down around 51 degrees, but quickly going to warm back up tomorrow around 70 degrees, pushing that 80 mark. Friday, we're going to be around 80 degrees as well. And then Saturday, we are going to be coming back to those stable-like temperatures. But Dakota, Caroline, how are you feeling about these warmer temperatures?
Well, it's been different. You know, we've had to turn on the AC in my truck a couple times, so it's definitely warming up. I'm definitely feeling that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm so excited to finally head to the pool this weekend after all this cold weather. And
for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely excited about that warmer weather too.
Yeah, thank you for keeping us informed.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys.
Well, Baker and Emily Mayfield are hosting a fundraiser for Meals on Wheels. Norman, in April 21st at the Topgolf in Oklahoma City.
The football player has been giving back to Meals on Wheels Norman since he was an OU student. Baker's heart for volunteering comes from his mother.
He told us that his mother was always really active in their hometown with Meals on Wheels, so it always kind of had a soft place in his heart.
Participants have an opportunity to meet Baker and Emily Mayfield at the event. There are 18 tickets still available for purchase. And it's an important night here in Oklahoma City.
Some might say for the entire state of Oklahoma. OU Nightly Sports' Parker Ables is here and has all the details. Parker?
Dakota, you are right about that. It's win or go home for OKC in the NBA play-in round. When we come back, we'll tell you what the Thunder's mindset is going into tonight's matchup. So don't go anywhere.
Prepared as your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane. You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Hello and welcome into OU Nightly Sports. I'm Parker Abels. It's do or die for the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight as they take on the New Orleans Pelicans in the biggest game for OKC since the NBA playoff bubble during the pandemic. If the Thunder win tonight, they will stay alive and take on the Minnesota Timberwolves on Friday, but a loss and the season is over. But Thunder players say they need to treat this game just like any other.
We know what position we're in. We're aware of everything. We prepared. Now it's just about going out there, playing basketball, playing the game we love, and trying to execute.
The big message is, trying to approach it the same way we do any other game. We don't want to suddenly change the way we prepare just because, the game's at higher stakes. Continue to do what we've done all year that's got us to this point. And I think guys are really buying into that.
Back to NBA play-in action Tuesday night. Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks had a chance to secure the 7th seed in the East, and they were on a mission. Second quarter here, Hawks up 11, and Trae with the behind-the-back pass for a Hawks 3. What a dish by number 11. The Hawks would get the win 116-105, and they now take on the Boston Celtics starting on Saturday. Former Oklahoma State women's basketball player Lexi Keys becomes the third OSU athlete to transfer to OU this year. Keys averaged 9.4 points per game last season for the Pokes and will be looking to bring that to Norman next season. The OU women's gymnastics team is ready to compete in the national championship this weekend in Fort Worth. Sophomore Jordan Bauer says her confidence has grown since last season.
Last year, my confidence wasn't as much up as it is this year. Towards the end, I got a lot more confident in myself, but I brought that into this year, and just seeing that pay off has been truly special to me, and I thrive off my teammates as well, and we all have so much confidence in each other, and we all trust one another with everything. So
on Tuesday night, the Sooners softball team had a matchup with the 13th ranked LSU Tigers, and sophomore Jordy Ball had an incredible game, pitching 13 strikeouts, and Alyssa Brito had a 2-run homer to give OU the lead as the Sooners took this future SEC showdown 3-0. And staying on the diamond, the Sooner baseball team had a nice outing Tuesday night against Wichita State. The bats came to life, fueled by this 2-run triple by Wallace Clark, and OU would take it 8-1. The Sooners now get ready for Texas Tech in Norman starting on Friday. Dakota, Carolyn, back to you.
Thanks, Parker. And Carolyn, have you ever lost your luggage?
I personally have not, but I do travel pretty frequently and constantly find myself worrying about it.
Well, many have, and their luggage turns into something interesting. Find out what that is when we come back for the last part of our show.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Do stars visit their friends?
Look!
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year, and lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
What happens to unclaimed luggage at the airport? Well, there's a museum opening in Alabama that will showcase some of the strangest items left in forgotten luggage. A retail store named Unclaimed Baggage is hosting this exhibit.
Yeah, it will feature more than 100 rare finds from major airlines since 1970. The exhibit will also tell the story of how a live rattlesnake was once found in a bag. The new exhibit is set to open April 21st. Maybe I'll find some of my friend's stuff that he just recently went to Dominican Republic and lost that. But let's go to Lauren Brand one last time for a check into weather. Lauren?
Yeah, guys, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely excited to watch some tumbling for tomorrow as our gymnastics team makes their way to Dickies Arena down in Fort Worth, Texas. Now for tomorrow, we are going to be in the 80s down there, so quite toasty, so you definitely want to pack a little bit light on that end. Friday is going to be pretty much the same, even a little bit warmer. We are going to have some clouds in the area, so that might relieve you just a little bit. And then Saturday, we are going to be around that same mark as well. But for right here in Oklahoma, we are going to be in around that 80-degree mark, so it's going to be a lovely weekend, guys.
Thanks, Lauren, and thank you for tuning in to OU Nightly. Be sure to watch on weekdays at 4:30. I'm Carolyn Felling.
And I'm Dakota McDowell Wapakichi. Good night.